Warning, if you don't like spoilers, do not watch the video.
Hi, welcome to Some Film Snobs. I'm Sean Reinertz.
I'm Matt Smith.
And I'm Jacob. Okay, before we start the review, there's been a lot of talk about Spider-Verse being possibly the best Spider-Man movie, and I just want to dispel that right in the beginning. No, we do not think it is the best Spider-Man film. It is definitely a great film. It might even be the second best Spider-Man movie, but I'm going to show a clip right now just to show there's nothing in this movie that comes anywhere close to this moment from Spider-Man 2.
I want a life of my own.
You've been given a gift, Peter. With great power comes great responsibility. Take my hand, son.
No, Uncle Ben. I'm just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man. No more. No more. No more.
Just felt the need to put that in because there was a lot of talk about Spider-Verse being possibly the best Spider-Man movie, and this type of point never came up in our discussion of the film. Hope you enjoy, and if you do, hopefully you subscribe. Ramos.
And today we'll be looking at Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Remember, what makes you different
Let's go!
is what makes you Spider-Man.
Officer,
I love you.
Wait, what?
So, Matt.
Yeah.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about Into the Spider-Verse?
Yes. Well, Into the Spider-Verse is a new story in the Spider-Man universe. A young kid, this is a new story with a new character named Miles Morales. Forgot when he was introduced, but it was in the mid-2000s.
It was in the mid-2000s in the Ultimate Comics line. It was just like about, like they'd been going with a different version of Peter Parker for a few years, and then they decided to spice it up a little, and Brian Michael Bendis created the character of Miles Morales, and in that storyline, Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man, got killed by the Punisher, and that inspires Miles Morales to take up the mantle of Spider-Man, and he has like cool new superpowers different from Peter Parker, like the Venom shot and the turning invisible, and Miles Morales is a like newer character, Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah.
But they changed his origin.
They did.
I don't know why I found that so funny. So in this film, we have multiple Spider people.
Yeah.
You know, we have Gwen Stacy they're all from alternate dimensions. Basically, they all band together so that most of them can try to get back to their own dimensions. Miles Morales goes through his own thing, trying to, get used to being another Spider-Man.
It's kind of like the intertwined Miles Morales' origin with a huge spider event. It's like Spider-Man Avengers, but except instead of every character being established, it's kind of like we have this one new character who's coming into his own, while we have a bunch of pre-existing, already like established backstories to them.
Yeah. I thought it was awesome. I had a really good time watching this film because originally I thought it was just going to be okay. I didn't think it was going to be anything special, but then I sat down and watched it, and my mind completely changed to the point where I like this film a lot. It's not perfect, but I had a good time, and that's what matters the most.
Matt?
I would say that it was awesome as well. I really enjoyed it. I had higher expectations than Sean did, but that's just because I'm that kind of person.
Because I'm a senile old man and cynical old man, and you can't stop me.
One day you'll be both. Now, I will say the film was great, and there may be some minor things here and there that aren't so great, but overall it was a very good film.
For me, it was good. Like, it's not. I've seen some headlines where like, is it the best Spidey movie? And it's not the best Spider-Man movie.
No, it's
No,
not.
I
It's not
do
the
it's
not
not.
care what you say. It's not the best Spider-Man movie. But it's a really good Spider-Man movie.
Spider-Man 2 is the best, and it always will be.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Don't mess with my boy Raimi.
Or he'll mess with you.
I do have a few issues with it, but I think it was overall really, really good.
One thing right off the bat, well, two things. One is that this film, in terms of Spider-Man in film, it felt fresh. It felt like something new, which I liked. And the other thing, it's a work of art. Visual arts.
Oh yeah, the art style was amazing.
Animation, some of the most gorgeous animation I've seen in a long time.
Well, it's
Very
like
unique
a different style of animation too.
It's very unique to this film.
Well, it's more like a comic book,
Yeah,
which is something you would expect.
really works.
I
But
couldn't.
It actually
looks
looks
good.
really cool.
I couldn't help but think instantly of how much it looked like Telltale to me. The Walking
a
Dead.
little bit.
Like especially when like it would just be like normal scenes with characters talking. I just instantly thought this looks like a lot like Telltale.
Oh yeah, you're right actually.
But
R.I.P. Telltale.
like during the action sequences, they would like that's when it like really looked like extremely colorful and like comic booky because they would like throw in like the little wham pow thwip.
The attention to detail is amazing. There was points in the movie where the background looked slightly fucked up, and that was to make it look like a misprint, like an actual comic, which I didn't realize that watching.
What do you
it.
mean by fucked up? Because I might this is
Like-
actually might be one of my criticisms of the actual animation. Actually, what do you mean by this?
How is it a criticism if it's trying to be faithful
No,
to like a comic?
I'm saying I want to know what do you mean by fucked up? Like what
I
do you
mean,
by
like
misprint?
some of the like the characters look fine, but like some of the backgrounds kind of look like something happened with the ink or something like that. It's nothing too drastic. Like you wouldn't notice it unless you really looked.
Because what I was thinking of is like how it kind of looked like blurry to me at points. It looked like to me at some points like I was watching a 3D movie without glasses on, without the 3D glasses on, and like
Okay, I'm not the only one then.
because
Because I remember sitting there thinking, did I walk through a 3D screening?
yes, exactly.
without
That
knowing?
was one of the parts that actually
I
annoyed me a
didn't
little
have
bit.
that.
Well then, I mean, I guess I was closer to the screen.
No,
I
I
was-
saw it
I
like
was-
really far back, Matt, and like I noticed it. I was like, I don't know if this is
I was pretty
intentional or
close to
not,
the
but it
screen.
looks kind of annoyingly blurry.
I was pretty close to the screen, and a lot of it looked fine. A lot of it
I'm
looked
saying
like a comic.
most of it was clear, but like I feel like it was just like certain points for
Yeah, there
like
was a scene in the
seconds
school.
at
I
a
noticed
time. It would be like it looked like you were watching a 3D movie without glasses on. It just looked really
Yeah, it's really
blurry.
weird. Really weird.
Because I didn't have an issue with it, so
Alright.
most of the time. Doesn't work all the time, but most of the time the soundtrack was awesome.
I only
There's
think
like-
it was like 2-3 songs. I don't
Well,
I
there's
don't remember really any of the original score, but like I only remember like 3 songs from pop culture, I guess.
Well, the one thing about this soundtrack that I like is that it sort of fits with the very stylized animation.
Definitely.
Like, that's one thing this film has. It has style. It feels like its own thing.
Yeah, it's not just, oh boy, here we go, another Marvel movie. Just put that in the press. Okay, we're good. Okay, get the next one. Get Black Panther 2 in there. Okay, Spider-Man 2. You get the idea, right?
The one thing about the soundtrack is that there's 2 moments in the film you're supposed to take seriously, and they have like this Post Malone track over it, and nothing against Post Malone, but like it doesn't work with the scenes whatsoever.
What scenes are you talking about?
I don't even know what you're talking
It's like-
about either.
Miles, is like all depressed and stuff like that. He's trying to come to himself and all that. And you have this like sad sounding soundtrack in the background, but it's like something about it just doesn't feel right. in some areas, but for the most part, the soundtrack was awesome and it worked well.
Well, well, like, all right, I guess we could talk about like the Spider-Verse aspect of it, because the comic version of Spider-Man or Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse story, it was kind of like all over the place and like not really that good. Like the only cool
It needed work.
The only cool thing about the comic book version of Spider-Verse was like how they had all these new cool versions of Spider-Man. Like that's when Spider-Gwen was introduced, and this one it was basically just a better version of that comic storyline, and like they also used this storyline to twist the origin of Miles Morales, which I did a basic nerd summary of before.
Yeah.
And like I'm guessing like now in media, the canonical origin of Miles Morales is just gonna be being trained by Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man, because like in the Spider-Man PS4 game, Miles Morales is a character in that universe, and he's basically gonna be Peter Parker's mentor. And then this one is kind of the same thing, where Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man, Peter Parker is his mentor, rather than like the actual comic book canon of Miles Morales.
I don't know if this is what they're trying to do, but maybe they're trying to make Miles more accessible to like a more general
I know what
audience.
they're doing. It's because in the comic book version, it was very abrupt. Like Peter Parker's dead. Here's a new Spider-Man, Miles Morales. He's but like, and that version was like abrupt. But like the reason people didn't really like mind that much was because we still had the normal 616 like main Marvel Comics Spider-Man. Like that was still Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't really that big a deal. But I see what they're doing here is like they're editing it because they want to do a passing of the torch type of thing. Or like this was your dad's Spider-Man. No, this is Spider-Man for the kids. It's the new younger
I think
Miles
it's
Morales.
like a general rule too with the Spider-Man film specifically that you can't really kill Spider-Man, because people, you know how many film like how much the general audience would be pissed off that Spider-Man dies.
All of them, every one of them. There be riots in the streets.
Well, I guess. Well, like I'd argue you can't really kill any comic book character permanently.
Gwen Stacy was dead, and oh look, she was brought back.
Speaking of Gwen Stacy, one of the weird things about this movie is how like all the different timelines are like different in terms of like where they rest in time, which was confusing to me. Because I was like, why is Gwen Stacy like Miles's age around there when she would be like around Peter's old ass or like dead? But then like I guess it's somewhat explained that it's like they're all different times, because like the Peter Parker in Miles's universe was way younger than the main Peter Parker that we meet later.
Yeah.
The one thing I feel like could have had a little bit more work was both Kingpin and Miss Ock.
Absolutely
Wrong.
proved over and over again.
Wrong.
We actually advocate.
Like,
I
I
actually
feel
disagree
like-
on this. All right,
No, there was something there. But it didn't feel complete. Something
With
felt
who?
missing.
With who?
Specifically more with Kingpin than Miss Ock.
Oh wow, that's where I really disagree then.
Absolutely
Wrong.
proved over and over again.
Wrong.
We actually advocate.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
mean,
I'm
Miss
just
Ock
BS, man.
Miss Ock just felt pointless, but like
I wouldn't go there. She's not pointless, but
Kingpin,
No.
I feel like there really needed to be
Damn,
just
dude.
a little more.
I feel like you're
No.
grasping at straws here.
yeah, I'd say so.
Like the whole
It was
with
fine.
Kingpin, like they explain that the reason he's doing this whole interdimension thing is because his wife and son left him and died or whatever. I don't know if they died or not, but they left
They
him.
died.
Yeah, they died. And then
He died, and he wants to.
he wants to bring them back
back.
from a different. He wants to just get them back, so he's trying to build alternate dimensions to try to pull them out and bring them back to himself.
Oh wait, no, I just realized my brain's reversing it.
I don't know.
I meant to say Miss Ock needed more development, not Kingpin.
Yes, she did, but she certainly wasn't pointless. She just needs more development, lots more.
Well, I just think she was like she could have just served as henchman, like muscle, like a foil.
That's a good thing too.
I don't think every character needs that type of thing. I do have a problem with
it's funny
certain
'cause, like,
characters in their regard.
When she came on screen, I was like, "Oh, there's a Miss Ock." Like, I don't remember this. And then I was like, "Oh, how did this happen?" And then it just kind of went, there's a Miss Ock now."
I mean, I don't know if they really need to explain it, because honestly, I just thought Well, we are in a.
Yeah, I was
this
just gonna
isn't
say
the
this is a
main-
different universe, Spider-Man universe, so Doc Ock would
Yeah,
be
so-
different. That's so I just thought.
Yeah, I mean, if some
I
things
don't
are
know what I'm
similar, that's
thinking,
fine. But if some things are different, then they're different.
I don't know what I'm thinking, man.
Honestly,
I
to
don't know
me,
either.
like the purpose she served was like the purpose that bowler hat guy in a James Bond movie served. She's just a
Yeah.
foil, like muscle for the main villain. That's all I saw her
Yes.
as. I didn't really think she served any more of a thematic purpose. But like other
Yeah.
other characters, I have problems with that though. Like where characters I think could have used way more. Like I think Peter Parker, Spider-Man Noir, Anime Spider-Girl, and
Why haven't they needed more development?
well, I think they don't serve any purpose. It like in the
That's-
story
I mean-
thematically.
They wasted Nicolas Cage, man.
I don't think they wasted it. Like
I mean,
they deliver good laughs, but I just don't think like if you wrote them out of the script, I don't think anything
Nothing would've
consequential. Yeah, nothing would really change. Like they didn't really offer any thematic purpose, like to be there in the story, in my opinion.
no, not really.
Speaking of thematic stuff, I don't know why I'm just thinking of this now. Miles's uncle. I like the twist in that.
I kind of.
I don't know why.
This was
What?
I'm like a comic geek, so I knew that.
Yeah, well,
Prowler.
you knew this, but I
Yeah.
didn't. Because I was taking this film from more of like a general perspective, because I'm not really that much into comics.
And because I have one foot in the comics and one foot in the general, I knew there was something up with his uncle, sort of, but I didn't know what. So there you go.
See, I kind of thought he was like sort of a mentor character, not really a mentor character in a sense.
I think he just served, I guess, a sort of like emotional safe place for Miles. Like
That's what I was thinking.
Like
Thank you.
there was a rift between, there's like a rift in the relationship between him and his dad, and like the uncle kind of served as that surrogate father figure before, like they have their whole thing together and then they come closer in the end. But I think that's what the purpose was. Yeah, that's what I think it was.
Yeah, but when it came to that like twist for me, I was just kind of like, whoa, what? Like something about it. It felt like it came out of nowhere, but at the same time, it didn't.
It was a shock to me, actually.
I think I know what you're getting at though, where you feel like it somewhat came out of nowhere. Because I feel like one of my criticisms of the movie is sometimes I feel like it goes a little too fast.
A little bit.
Like
Yeah,
I feel like
a
the
little bit.
movie is super fast paced, like
Yeah.
absurdly. But I don't know. It's not that big of a problem for me, but I feel like at certain points it just feels like things are happening way too quickly. I don't even know how long this movie is. How long is it?
Like 2 hours.
All right.
Yeah.
Like an hour 51. So if you like cut out like what are credits now, 10 minutes.
Mm.
And I
Now
guess
Now that you say that, I feel like they could have spent another 10 minutes.
it's hard to know what goes on in the editing room and why things
Yeah, I know.
are cut. But so like I guess that would, my biggest criticism would probably be like the no purpose of like the other versions of Spider-Man. But like my other one would be it feels like Miles's dad kind of like is everywhere, like conveniently, like at crucial moments in the plot.
Yeah, that felt weird.
It's like Miles falls in the street, his dad is in the car. Miles is in a tough moment when all the Spider-Men are abandoning him, his dad shows up. Miles is fighting Kingpin. Oh, his dad is magically
his dad
there.
shows
Yeah, that was one of the
You know
like
what?
annoying
I can't
parts for
believe
me.
I feel like there could be a drinking game off that, like spot
Yeah.
Miles' dad. Jacob, about your point with the characters feeling pointless,
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. But at the same time, I like these characters. Like if they had more, I would have liked them even more, though.
All right, I'm gonna make a really edgy comparison now. It's like Suicide Squad syndrome, where like a lot of the characters are entertaining, but most of them don't really serve a purpose.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Like,
I mean, I
yeah.
wasn't thinking Suicide Squad, but
Well, it's the first one that came to my mind, but
well, yeah, I tried to forget that movie. I mean, the next time somebody puts it on, I'll just fucking put a gun to my head.
well, like
and,
it seems like
shoot it
like,
off and pull my brains out.
What, we some kind of...
Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
it seemed like those characters, though, the other Spider-Men, were there just to show that there were more universes than just the three of Spider-Man, Miles, and Gwen Stacy. And like, there's nothing else to it. Like, I'm just thinking in terms of like Miles. His story is like, well, like the main story of it is that Miles is training to become Spider-Man, but the original Peter Parker, he's like giving up on being Spider-Man. It's kind of like they like both kind of need each other in a way. It's like
Yeah.
Peter Parker needs to be like inspired to want to even like live anymore because he's like so depressed kind of, and continue like being Spider-Man while Miles Morales is trying to learn from him.
This sort of has to do with another point. I like the way they went about talking about Peter Parker's backstory in this. It's so quick and so brief, and there's so many little funny references to it where I was just like, this is perfect.
Yeah,
It's a perfect way to summarize Spider-Man in film.
Well, I guess this makes the Raimi trilogy is canon, I guess, for this Spider-Man. For this
I'm
Peter
okay with
Parker.
that. It's funny because like when they were talking about like older Peter Parker and they were talking about him getting divorced, I remember laughing because I was just kind of like, that's so depressing. But the way it was edited and the way it was put together, like how quick it was, it kind of made me laugh more than anything, and not in a bad way.
Trust me though, that scene, even though it's brief, of Peter Parker getting divorced, that like 2-second shot of him signing a divorce paper is better than the garbage fucking comic book that they did, where fucking Spider-Man and Mary Jane talk with the fucking devil to save Aunt May's life, but they have to give up their child, and it's a terrible fucking comic. It's called Spider-Man One More Day. Never read it. It's one of the worst comic books ever made.
What about the one where Spider-Man has radioactive semen and killed Mary Jane with his semen?
Last Spider-Man tangent. If you want to read an actual good recent Spider-Man story, check out Superior Spider-Man. That's really good. It's one of the best Spider-Man stories ever written. Alright, now we'll move on.
I was gonna praise Miles Morales. He's a great character. Like, this is a great film to introduce people to the character, I think.
He's probably the youngest Spider-Man we've ever had. It feels like he's like late middle school, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, something like that.
Whereas like I'm pretty sure Peter Parker was like a sophomore in high school.
Or if you go by the Raimi films, a
senior,
a senior about to graduate, or you go by the other Andrew Garfield ones that we never talk about. He was a junior or maybe a senior. I don't know.
Don't even get me started.
Don't get me started.
Oh
Those either.
I think I just thought of something. I don't know. I honestly, in my mind, I don't know whether to treat this as a positive or a negative, because I kind of like it and don't like it at the same time. But it has this, it has that MacGuffin type storytelling. Like it's very Star Wars in a way, where like you have this like chip thing.
Yeah, the USB
that's
stick.
really important to the plot, and it's like everyone's after this little fucking USB drive, and I don't know, and I'm not really a huge fan of those types of things unless like you get me to actually care about like the MacGuffin itself.
I think of films like, you know, Indiana Jones that do it great. Like Raiders
Well,
of
I
the
mean,
Lost
like
Ark.
even with Indiana Jones, like it's like the MacGuffins themselves are not really anything you should. It's like really is gonna get you invested. I don't know. Like when I watch Indiana Jones, I'm not really thinking. I don't really care about, to be honest, whether.
Someone saying, "Oh, hot damn! Can't wait to see that Ark of the Covenant again." I'm going to this movie. The characters, Indiana Jones.
It's like Indiana Jones is more for the adventure than anything.
Alright, like I guess,
Nazis.
like for me, like good MacGuffins are like The Ring and Lord of the Rings, because it has an actual character behind it, like an evil force. Like The Ring itself is a character, like it's an antagonist, and like or R2-D2 is a droid, a character that you really grow to love, but he is a MacGuffin. Yeah. Whereas in this, I feel like the MacGuffin is no more than a USB drive. So in a way, for me, like the storytelling, it felt a little simplistic in that way.
A little bit, but
I don't know whether I'd like it or hate it. I'm kind of indifferent towards it, to be honest.
I just don't care.
I mean,
it's just
I guess I'm indifferent towards it too, but at the end of the day, I don't mind.
I don't care, frankly speaking.
Honestly, I think it's just because I had such a good time with a lot of the film that I kind of just forgave it a lot. I know that sounds weird for me to say right now. I don't know, I feel like this is one of those films where I like it now, but I feel like maybe when it comes out on like Blu-ray, I may or may not change my mind. I don't know. I feel like I need a little more time with this movie.
For me,
I just don't know.
I liked it, but I don't know if I'm gonna be like. The best Spidey movies are the ones that I'm gonna rewatch over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I feel like with this one. I think it's mainly because of the scope, though. Like, I feel like to introduce Miles Morales, like to introduce a new Spider-Man, I feel like this is a little too big. Pause. I understand that the scope is part of the theme of the film in introducing Miles. The whole theme of the film is that anyone can be Spider-Man, and what makes you unique is what makes you Spider-Man, like in the trailer. It's just, I still feel that the scope of the film is to the movie's detriment in terms of rewatchability as a Spider-Man film and its ranking amongst the Spider-Man films. Okay, now continue with the review. Like, it's not like original Raimi Spider-Man where it's like this small single character story where it's just this kid and he gets bitten by a spider and he gets powers and he lives. Like, I don't know, this one feels a little too large in scope for me to feel like it's like a good Spider-Man story.
Yeah.
Because I've talked with you guys before, like, for me Spider-Man is about, like, the consequences of being Spider-Man, like not paying his rent on time, missing class, like
That's totally what it's about,
his struggle with his girlfriend.
Spider-Man.
Whereas like this one for me, like it does have that family element, like with his dad and stuff, but it doesn't really it doesn't have that strong Spider-Man-y like story beats in a way. Like that's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of Homecoming. Homecoming's a fine movie, but for me it's not like really a great Spider-Man film. Yeah.
I think this has nothing to do with the film, but I think just in general, we've gotten to this point where, like, if one person likes a film, we have to hype it up, so then everybody likes a film, and then everybody likes the film, so we build up more hype and stuff like that. Hype culture is really fucked with everybody.
A little bit, yeah.
Really social media like amplifies it like to another level.
Because people are calling this the best Spider-Man movie, and no, this is not the best Spider-Man movie. If you look at it from a technical level, it's not like a technical level in terms of like writing, acting, you know, characters, blah blah blah, all that. It's not the best. I feel like hype culture is kind of fucking with that, and everybody's now calling this one the best, mostly due to hype culture.
Okay, it's not the best Spider-Man movie, but in defense of the directors, I don't think there was another way to introduce Miles Morales to the mainstream than by doing it like this, if you know what I mean.
Sorry, I haven't even heard of Miles Morales until a couple years ago.
I remember when he was first unveiled.
But then once I heard about him, and once I read about it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool.
I remember when I first heard about him. I was a little kid in school, and like this counselor guy, he was just walking around. He was a huge comic book guy, and he said, "Hey, did you hear about like the new Spider-Man? He's like a Puerto Rican black kid." He was like really excited about it, and I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool and different." Yeah, I was really little at that time though.
Yeah.
I mean, when was Miles introduced?
Like
about
2000s, I'm pretty sure.
2012
or something.
But yeah, I don't think that what I was gonna say though before is like I don't think there would have been another way for them to introduce Miles Morales other than this, because like I think if it was just a movie like the original Raimi Spider-Man but just about Miles, I don't know how many people would have seen it.
I don't know.
Well, actually, I don't doubt that it would have made money because it has the name Spider-Man on it, but I think it was just like I think it was better for them to do this sort of passing of the torch story rather than like,
I think it worked better.
Yeah, rather than throwing people in hot water. So.
It makes sense.
Yeah, like,
and I will say this.
So I don't disagree with how they did it.
Final thoughts? Is there anything else? I don't know. I'm kind of a mess right now.
It's okay. Me too.
Shout out to Miguel O'Hara in the post-credits scene. The Spider-Man 2099.
Oh yeah.
I didn't see that until after.
I saw it. I loved it. I thought, oh my god.
I didn't stay because I had to really go to the bathroom. And I know there's like 10 minutes of credits, so I was like, one part, a literal, like a tear came out of my eye. Stan Lee's cameo.
Yeah, me too.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just remembered that.
Get me all sad.
When he came on screen, I got a little like, oh,
yeah.
Don't do this to me.
Not now. Not
You're killing me, man.
Rest in peace, Stan.
Yes, rest in peace, Stan. Thank you for the great characters.
You were the man. I feel like I'm repeating myself. Overall thoughts?
Very good film.
Yeah, good. You recommend it.
I recommend it. It's problematic. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it in a couple months.
I don't think it's problematic. I just don't think it's perfect. It's great, but it's not perfect.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Sorry, my terrible wording. But yeah, I would recommend it. I enjoyed it. I was blasting the Notorious B.I.G. afterwards.
Matt,
Right,
oh yeah,
so...
Matt, you already said, never mind.
This has been Some Film Snobs. I'm Matt Smith.
I'm Sean Reiner. God damn it!
I'm Jacob Ramos, the editor of this
Reiner.
monstrosity.
And so I'm on the Amazons, and I'm realizing they have a Harry Potter box set of all 8 movies.
All right, I'm Sean Reiner.
And I'm...
I thought we were... I think you already said your piece, man.
No.
Dude, we're cut.
I won't make him the handsomest guy in the world or the strongest. I won't make him rich. He'll have money worries. I can relate to that because I had money problems in those days. I said he won't be that popular. I mean, it's not easy for him to get a girl. He has to worry about getting dates. And I figured that most of the kids or the teenagers or the young adults who read those stories would be able to relate to that because life isn't easy for anybody, really.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang. Wherever there's a hang, you'll find a Spider-Man.
If you enjoy our content, then please consider supporting Some Film Snobs on Patreon. Thank you.